Hello, everyone. Welcome back to season three of Be Her with Shalon. And I'm here with Kiera today. And in this season, we are going to be talking with a bunch of women who I have met recently as I dove into a new business adventure that I'm super excited to hear about. If you've watched my episode one podcast for this season, you'll we've already touched a little bit about that. And so I just wanted to talk to other women in this business and see what their journey has been like and their reason for getting into this new endeavor. So thank you so much for being here today, Kira.
It's such a pleasure. Happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. I am a lifelong yoga practitioner. I actually started my first self-guided meditation practice when I was 5, and my yoga practice really took off when I was about 8. And so I'm coming from a long background of self-awareness and self-healing arts, and that became my career in the early 2000s when I realized that I really am here to be a vessel of service to others, to also become their optimal selves, I guess, is the way that it wants to come through today.
I love that. Like when you were 5, that's incredible.
Yeah, I lost my father when I was young, and I really wanted to understand where had he gone. And my mom had been initiated by an East Indian master, and so she had a regular meditation practice, and I was exposed to books about reincarnation, and I read about meditation, and yes, I actually read at 5 as well. I was a very young intellect, and so
Mhm.
I always wanted to understand. And I grew up out in the woods, just connecting to nature, pretty much free lifestyle as a child, run and play and be outside. And so I always felt at home in the forest, and the trees really speak to me as well. That has become a huge part of my personal journey to connect with trees before I ever knew that there was a mycelial network of mushrooms communicating between the tree roots. I was shown by a tree this very thing, imagining it to be in the ethers connecting all of us. And so, really, I feel like what I've found here in this community that connected the two of us is similar to a mycelial network where we spread our roots around the world and share our nutrients and really build something sustainable to last for our future, for future generations, for our own personal futures. And it really feels like the natural unfolding versus what it may seem. I had built my online business founded in tree communication, in qigong and yoga and meditation and all of these amazing modalities that I have trained in for my entire adult life. And yet what we have here allows me to bring all those gifts through in a way that isn't burning me out because I'm not just depending on the next client to be my source of income, if that makes sense.
No, and absolutely. And I think more people in the spiritual community, because like we rely so much on like one-on-one services and that energetic exchange to support ourselves and our business, our like, and that is our business, that is our livelihood, right? And so it's like when we can actually be compensated in other ways so that we can be energetically supported to be able to do the work that we love to do for our clients and everything like that. I think is really beautiful and allows this company allows us to do that, right?
Yeah, 100%. When I first brought my business online, it was entirely to build my client and student base. So, because I wanted to teach retreats worldwide, and I live in a really small town, so I thought I need to reach more people. And it was one-on-one clients, like you said, and I was well paid for those clients, but you get paid and then you serve, and then you're serving on the money that you made last month and continuing to work versus what we do here is work for our future and get paid in the future for work that we did yesterday, which I have experienced, and it's amazing. And then when I brought my business online, I learned that leveraging your online coaching business means creating group programs. But then that's the same thing. I had my $26,000 month, and then I served for an entire year. So I still had to keep bringing in more clients and offering more programs. And so when I found this space, I was looking for a different way. I thought I need an evergreen product. Maybe, and I thought maybe I'll even go back to crafting and creating things with my hands. That was my first business, was a sewing business, and I used to do beadwork. And I thought, okay, I need things that I need more products that are just there. So I'm not just depending on my own services to pay me. And I had pretty much burnt myself out and was facing a health crisis simultaneously to trying to figure out a sustainable business model that didn't mean I was going to make bigger and bigger programs and then hire more people and then be responsible for not only my own livelihood, but a whole team of people's livelihoods. I was also, like I said, in a health crisis, my entire body covered with eczema. And through the process of trying to figure it out, this was after I had discovered my food sensitivities and taken out eggs and almonds and radishes and bananas, and something was still triggering me and I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe mold, because I knew that mold was an issue in my home. And so I learned you could do a distilled water cleanse. And so I did a distilled water cleanse. I got a water distiller and I did a 10 days of distilled water, which does not mean a water fast, because if you fasted on distilled water alone, you would completely strip your body of all nutrients. That is not a good idea. Don't ever do that. A distilled water cleanse is a very short-term solution where you drink a large amount of distilled water before eating, and you just wait a certain amount of time. And I did that, and you don't do it for more than 10 to 14 days at a time. Again, stripping minerals from your body is not a good idea. And so I was looking at what my distiller was taking out of my water, and I said, okay, I can't go back to tap water. What am I going to do about my water? I can't go back to the way I was doing my business. What am I going to do to create an evergreen product that I can market online? And that's when I discovered our mutual friend who shared her amazing masterclass with me. And I was like, oh, look, what? There's a solution for both of my problems in one place? How is that
Right.
even possible? I was like, literally, my prayers were answered by discovering what we have here.
Hmm. Hmm. I love that. And you also like have a like education in like health and wellness and nutrition and that kind of stuff too, don't you?
That's right. I do.
Yeah.
I am a food healing educator. And
Hmm.
actually, my food healing teacher, when I was studying with him, used to recommend distilled water as the type of
Hmm.
water. And as a food healing educator, I would not recommend a type of water to my clients. I would tell them, if you're dealing with arthritis, you may want to do distilled water for a period of time because it will help clear the calcification from your joints. And there are all these different different ideas about water. So that's what I used to say to my clients. There are all these different ideas about water, so do your own research was basically what I used to say to my clients. And I would really focus on the foods because the fruits and vegetables primarily have phytonutrients that will give your body what it needs to heal. And I also work with movement. To me, prior to adding in our mutual business here, I would say to my clients also, yes, the foods are important. Be sure you're eating enough of these foods, and I would recommend certain foods based on your certain ailments and what you're dealing with in your body. And I have a background in Chinese medicine as well. So I do Qigong, medical Qigong energy healing. And through that process, I can determine what your energy body is asking for, what's needing to be cleared out. I do a lot of emotional alchemy techniques, and then what nutrients is it calling for? And I would really focus on that and be sure you're drinking enough clean water. Get a water filter or get it in a glass bottle, don't drink plastic. That was just my big thing back then. And really move your body. And that's still what I believe, that moving your body adequately is the most important thing in terms of health and longevity. That's and not overeating, of course. Those are like the two primary things in all of my research around longevity. Movement, movement that nourishes your body versus movement that burns you out. So there is a thing as too much exercise. And then breath work, because breath is the primary nutrient of being, and getting your nourishment first from the breath and the water, and then eating the most nutrient dense foods that you can so that you're not eating a lot of calories to get your nutritional requirements. And following that plan is really, that's really my longevity plan, in the simplified version. Everyone has, like I said, your individual needs, but yeah, that's really, and then of course, learning what we are learning together about proper hydration is so important. But the piece that I always ignored myself, and I'm just going to be totally transparent, is financial well-being. I never really looked at that as this is part of my overall wellness plan. And now here I am at 52 and being an entrepreneur my entire adult life. And I realize, I need something to lean into because I do plan to live a long time. I'm doing the things that are going to keep me here in this body feeling good for as long as possible. So, what am I going to do to be freely doing what I want with the rest of my time here? What am I going to do to allow me to give back, to leave something for my children? Yes, but even more importantly, to leave a world that the future generations can enjoy. And so that's really what I'm passionate about bringing through this space.
I love that. I love that you said like, and I love that you brought it all together. Like the health, the wellness. It's not just like food and nutrition. Like we need all of this together, right? And I think as spiritual entrepreneurs, right, that we have a really hard time being receiving financially for our services. Like I know that that's like a past wound from like so many things from past lives and everything that have happened and whatnot. And I think because we see these things as gifts to people that we don't necessarily I think we have that not necessarily. I hate using charging our worth because like I feel like nobody's worth can be defined one over the other kind of thing, but um just like being compensated, I guess, for our services and everything. And that we also emotionally charge our clients quite a bit because we know what they're going through and everything else as well. And so I love that you brought in that financial aspect into everything, that like we are worthy and deserving of being financially supported in our lives, right? And just because we're these entrepreneurs doesn't mean that we need to be struggling and barely getting by, and that we also get to like create and build a future for ourselves, right? That's going to help support not just us, but like our lineage and the world in general, right? And I really love that you brought that all in together for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have actually had people tell me, like, I have received judgment from others for charging for spiritual gifts. And even though we spend thousands of dollars to do these trainings to learn these
Mhm.
modalities, then people still come back with, oh, well, you shouldn't charge for this because it's healing. And then there's also the other flip side of that. The people who need it most often don't have the financial wherewithal to pay what it's
Yeah.
worth
Yeah.
monetary wise, right? And so
Mhm.
to be able to be so fully resourced that I can be generous is also
Mhm.
really dear to my heart. And to know that for the same investment that I used to have a client pay me just for my services for a limited time, now I'm able to offer a lifetime contract of access to me and my mentorship, along with a business that you can choose to build to legacy income, generational wealth, and leave your impact for your family and your future generations, and the world that you want to live in, right? So that to me makes it just a win-win-win in all directions.
Mhm. And I love that we can use our gifts in this business and that we get to decide how that's going to look, right? Like, yeah, the tool is there, like the machine is there for us to tap into and use, but the way that we get to put that out into the world and everything, by using our own gifts and making, having our own brand and all of that kind of stuff, I think was really appealing to me, that I was able to finally see that it can be this and that, not this or that kind of thing. Because that was a big thing for me, because I was like, oh my God, so I'm going to have to let go of all of this other stuff that I've been working on, right? And then just focus on this business. And that's not the case at all. And I was very, like, once I wrapped my head around that, then I found that it was like, you know, I I guess that was just that resistance that I had to, which I think everybody kind of has at times.
Yeah, for sure. And we have so many underlying money conditioning stories that are both in our own psyche and then just in the collective consciousness. And so if you're having that feeling, then it's going to show up like it has for me, that I've been accused of being a sellout because I'm not only offering my spiritual gifts, but I've expanded into offering something that I didn't have to create. But how beautiful is
Yeah,
that, that I
it
don't
is.
have to create everything in
Mhm.
order to be a successful entrepreneur, that I can lean into existing products and systems that are already doing the things that I know make the difference that I want to make in the world. And it really is. And then, like you said, we get to choose how we do it. As well as a spiritual entrepreneur, I am also a creative writer, and I realized around the same time, a little bit before I came here, it really landed that I could not just be happy using my creativity to create programs for my clients and beautiful meditations and online marketing that like really lands for the people who are in my audience, and all of those amazing things that we do as entrepreneurs, those things were taking all of my creative energy and my inner child, that person that I've always been and still am, was going to feel a failure if she did not also create her sci-fi fantasy novels and get them published. And being in this community allows us to expand into more passion projects rather than having to give some of them up.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to take that to the next level.
No, because it gives us that additional time freedom while still being financially supported, right? And a big thing with this business as well is like it had to fit my values and my morals, right? That was a big thing for me. I can't just like jump into something that I doesn't like actually feel aligned or resonate with. And I think lots of people should take that into consideration when they're looking at like whatever opportunities, businesses, even like coaches and all that kind of stuff. Like really be discerning about what you're getting into, and like do um see I was gonna say do the research and make sure that it like actually aligns with who you are and what you're wanting to create in this world, right? And like my big thing was because the opportunity to be able to build this future for my family, and create this legacy for my children so that they don't have to be struggling in the future, and that kind of stuff. Because I had no plan. The plan I had was like at the rate it was going was going to end up being like a 200-year plan, not just like, not just 10 like. And I was like, I don't want to work for the rest of my life. Like I don't want to work until the rest of my life, right? And so it's amazing that I can do the things I love and still tap into this business and still be able to build something for like our future for my kids and stuff. So that was really important for me for sure.
Absolutely. And yeah, there are so many ways that you can make money on or offline. And if you're only looking for money, you should probably go somewhere else,
Yes.
because what we have here is really calling the people who want to make a difference in the world, who
Mhm.
want to make a difference in your life. It's not just about making a quick buck. It's about
Yeah.
really investing into your future and being in it for the long game. And the long game to me means, I plan to live to be 100 or more. And so I'm halfway through my life right now, but the long game goes much farther than that into our future. And the way the world is going, we can't just leave it up to the powers that be to take care of the world for us. We really have to take our lives and our world into our hands. And so this really is a grassroots movement, not just a business opportunity. So it's really for you, like Shalon said, it's really up to you to do your due diligence with whatever else you may be looking at, and also here to be sure that it really lands for you on all the levels, that it's ticking off the boxes. Yes, this is what is going to give me and my family something to lean into so that I can live a long time and be comfortable and not be dependent on a system that is falling apart around me. And does it benefit the world? Because to me, that's really important. I won't do anything that I don't feel is good for all people. And like I said earlier, to me, trees are also people. And so
I love
all
reading.
life is needing to be taken care of, and we are the ones who can make a difference should we choose. And then does it make sense now in the immediate, and do I see the potential for the future? And so for me, it's all of these, because it completely changed my life. To me, I felt like I was in profit the moment I invested here because of the opportunity to really bring my personal health and the health of my home to the next level, to be fully aligned with my values and standards. And so in one sense, it didn't matter to me if I made any money, in terms of feeling that my investment was well worth it and more. And yet the opportunity is exponential and uncapped. And so what is possible here is like so completely mind blowing that it is, it takes really borrowing that belief and running with it that we have here, because it really is something anyone can do, but not everyone will, right?
Oh, for
So,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely it's that like 1% mentality, right? And where it's like it's definitely not for everybody. And you still have to put time and work and effort into it, but like that's just kind of to like get the ball rolling kind of thing, right? And there's people that take off like you took time off from this business and it was still paying you,
that's absolutely right.
right?
And usually the people who take time off have put in the years, and so they're able to just take the time off and be very well paid. I had only just gotten started when I had a shattering life experience that really forced me to take time off. And yet, still, because of the efforts that I had put in for those first 2 years, I was still able to make money for the year and a half that I took off from my business completely and didn't show up online at all, only showing up to the business that came to me. And so that really solidified for me. I was like, oh, I didn't even think I was at the level where I could take time off and still benefit. But that's what is so amazing here compared to anything else I've looked at, is even if you are only consistent for a couple of years, whatever effort you put in compounds for your future. Even if you need to go slow because you already have a lot on your plate, every effort that you make is compounding for your future. And that to me is just, it's mind blowing. It's just giving me chills right now to remind myself how amazing it is what we have here in this opportunity.
It is. And I love that it's like you were talking about like focusing on like going back a little bit, focusing on like into the future, like longevity and everything. And that's like not just the well-being of the world, but like focusing on our health and well-being now so that we're still healthy into the future. And that business already that also gives us this opportunity, right? To because there's so much garbage in the world. There really is. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, that's just kind of the reality. Like, with our foods and our water and like our air and everything, like, there's just like so many contaminants and chemicals and all of that kind of stuff in our world all the time. And so it's like, if you can have like a business that you can tap into that's also going to help with that as well as create this future like financial stability for yourself, it was like almost like I don't know. I just remember being like, if I don't do this, like I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean? I was like, you know, like if I don't, like I'm probably gonna regret this. So that was just kind of where I was at with that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
To be honest, I knew immediately, because I don't know if you know human design, but I'm a manifesting generator. And what happens with
Same thing.
manifesting generators is
Mhm.
that when we know, and we move really quickly. And and when we don't know, we probably just won't even do it because we'll move on to the next thing. And when I first heard about this, I got an immediate full body yes, because like I said earlier, it was literally the answer to my prayers. And it was the answer to two prayers that seemed like they had to be fulfilled from completely different sources coming together. The two biggest things on my heart and my mind and my body were taken care of all at once. And then, of course, the third being the potential to take care of my family for the rest of my life, who my kids are grown. So it's not my responsibility to take care of them, as it were. But we all want to leave our children with resources and
Yeah,
more ease than we had as
absolutely.
mothers, as parents, right? And so I was just immediately, I was like, oh, here it is. This is what I've been asking for. How do I
Hmm.
get in? And
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? I'm doing it.
Make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
not like, I'm going to admit, like, and I know I'm a manifesting generator as well. And I wasn't necessarily a full body yes until I met Saber. And I think it was because I was more energetically aligned with her than the other people I talked to in the past. Right. But it was like always brought to my attention continuous, like for like probably at least 2 years, it had kept coming up in my energy, in my frequency, and in my face kind of thing. But until like I actually connected with Saber and she was able to show me that I can still be like this, I always say I can still be this witchy bitch and do the things that I want to do and like work this business, then I was like, okay, then yes. Right. And so, because that was, like I said, that was really important for me. But and just the fact that it was like continuously put in my face and I was like, okay, you need to like take a look at this.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
It's just that whole thing with like change. Like it's a really big mindset restructuring for you when you're used to just like trading time for money all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And it just gets to a point where like you were a solo mom. I've been a solo mom for the past 20 years, right? And I guess not, well, technically 16, but like felt like 20. And so like when you're the only income for your family and you're trading time for money constantly, that gets to be very exhausting and tiring. And you are like, I'm tired of being tired and depleted and like living in survival mode. And so this was just like that opportunity for me to get out of that rat race that I was on all the time and, make money in a different way, as well as still doing the things that I love to do without having to worry about that being my only income. Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
And what I noticed as an entrepreneur and a mother is I entered entrepreneurial life because I wanted to be home with my kids. And then all too often, I was too busy or too tired to do the things I really wanted to be doing with them, even
Yeah.
though I was physically present. And so
Hmm.
that's like, if you're a young mom listening to this and you have that, you're like full in it in the motherhood journey, knowing that you can actually there is actually a way where you don't have to burn yourself out or go to work. And it's really true, there is a way. So I
Hmm.
love that you brought that in, Shalon, because it's so true. We end up trading. We Life is a trade-off no matter
Yeah.
how you look at it,
Yeah.
so when you choose to really go all in on something that may be a lot right at first, but knowing that you're going all in on something that's going to set you up for life rather
Hmm.
than going all into something that is just going to continually keep you on that hamster wheel or
Hmm.
in the daily grind. It's just such a different story.
Hmm. No, it is. And I love that you brought up like the whole power of choice thing because Kiera and I did a live together actually, and we were talking about the power of choice in our life, and how like the choices that you make now are like set you up for the future, and how powerful it is to choose yourself. And that was the big thing for me, is I'd been doing all of these things, and even though I talk about like, you know, doing this for my lineage and doing this for my kids for the future and stuff, like it is really kind of for me, because like it gives me time freedom to do the things that I want to do, to be able to work from wherever I want to work, to be able to like build this future so that I don't have to work until the day I die, right? It's like setting me up for success in the future. And like that's choosing myself, as opposed to like everything else I've always done, working, doing hair behind the chair, like doing my sessions for my clients. Yes, I love what I do, but it's for everybody else. Right. And so this is about like choosing yourself and what it is you want for your future. And even if you do work a 9 to 5 now, you can still do this, right? And create this additional income for yourself so that you don't have to work 9 to 5 forever. Right. So, yeah.
You don't have to depend on your retirement plan, your social security that may or may not be there. And life happens. I used to have an IRA until my whole business fell apart, and that's another story for another time. But it
Yeah.
really made me realize that nothing is a sure thing. So the more that we can lean into what has worked for other people, the more likely that we will have something to lean into in our future. And I really feel everything that you shared there, Shalon, around choosing yourself, because even though we want to be generous, we want to take care of our children, and that becomes such a high priority as a mother, or our clients' needs become such a high priority as a healer or a service provider. At the end of the day, if you're choosing everyone else first, then you're going to cap yourself with how much you actually have available to give. If you choose yourself first, then you become an overflowing fountain of generosity, and you have enough for your children, for your parents, if they're a part of your life, for your friends, for your clients, for just the betterment of the world, for whatever you're passionate about giving back to. Take care of yourself first, because you're the only one that you can really count on at the end of the day. And if you give all of yourself to everybody else first, then what's really left is nothing.
And especially as moms, because we are like, I think just overgivers naturally, because we're always tending and nurturing and taking care of everybody else, that's like a really hard thing to switch around, right? Um, and the fact that this is like a collaborative model, right? We get to build this with a community. It's not just the solopreneur journey anymore. We get to all come together for the same vision, for the same outcome. And it's so supportive, and so like there's no competition. That's what I loved. I'm like, it's not about competition. It's about like the betterment for everybody and the betterment for the world in general. And I thought that that was really beautiful.
Yeah, I love this community and how everyone is really just ready and willing to serve. And it's not just about how am I making the money, because we're all building side by side. And so everyone succeeds when everyone succeeds. It really is a collaborative income model, which is pretty much unheard of. I tried so hard to find collaboration in my previous business, and it always seemed like I ended up getting the short end of the stick in all of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
here I'm just like, the generosity is amazing. And it's because everyone's filling their own cup first and just feeling free to give from the overflow.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And there's some pretty phenomenal stories in the industry of women who've literally like revamped their lives and came back from nothing and are literally just building their legacies and making a lot of money. And like Kira said, that's not what it's all about, but it's a big bonus that that's even an opportunity to do. Um, and even my whole relationship with money had to change.
Yeah.
And it's still changing as you go along, and you evolve and all of that. Like it requires different levels of yourself for sure and pushes you far out of your comfort zone.
I realized that I actually had no value on money before I came here.
Mhm.
And that seemed like the right mindset to me because money, the value of money is just a concept. It's literally paper that's
Yep.
printed with a number. And so that seemed right to have no value on money. But then when we think about the difference it makes in our lives, when we allow ourselves to honor and value money for what it can do for us and for the world, then it really changes the perspective. And I realized that by devaluing money, I was actually devaluing myself and the standards that I was allowing myself to live under. And the ability to make the impact that I really came here to make
Mhm.
was just capped, like about here, like not even like here, but here, where I'm
Yeah.
like crunched,
Yeah.
right?
hmm hmm And the thing with the business is really like we get to fund, like you said, our dreams and our passions. And there's a lot of women who are doing that in the world right now and are changing the world through this business because it is helping them and supporting them so that they can make this big change and these big differences in the world. And I'm like also so excited to be a part of that and to have my opportunity to do it as well. So, well, love, it was so lovely to have you on today and have this conversation with you. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else that you want to share before we pop off?
Um, I I think just to invite whoever has made it this far, you obviously are feeling your interest piqued. Allow your aperture to be opened. Put up your hand and say, tell me more, because there's some energy between these two ladies that kept me listening until the end. So I want to into their circle and see what's actually there for me. Allow
Mhm.
yourself to enter in with an open mind, an open heart, and an imagining of what could be possible in your life if you choose to really choose yourself and to believe in yourself and your dreams. Thank you
Mm.
so much for having me, Shalon. It was such a
Oh, thank
pleasure.
you, Kira. Like it's literally 2:22 my time as you were sharing that. And I'm like, how divinely guided. And thank you for sharing your energy with us today. And till next time, take care.